Hey guys, so today I'm making a model of a large battery in Rust. So I have started this modeling before, but never really gotten around to finish it as other models has taken priority. So let's open up the model and see where we're at. So as you can see, I have created a frame before, but I'm not really happy with how it looks. It needs to be a little bit more robust to kind of be like one in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the framing a bit, and you can see that the stands are already there as well with some iron bars that I found before. Copy and paste. As you can see, this is not a tutorial on how to use TinkerCAD. You shouldn't look at it like that. This is more or less my hobby, to create models from scratch, and just by looking at the object and trying to represent it in the best way possible that I can do. So look at this video as a kind of inspiration to get more to try to model things. TinkerCAD is free and it's quite powerful to use. You can do a lot with it. And as you can see now, I'm adding the crossbars. What I did here actually is that I only looked at the front side of the battery in the game. So I'm adding framing to the other side as well here, but they're not supposed to go there. So I will be removing those later. Once the framing is done, I need to add the small knobs, but the power cables are gonna be twisted around to connect to the different poles on the battery. I'm adding cylinders, simple ones, just centering them on the framing parts, making sure that everything is centered and looks okay. I'm also adding them to the other side, which is unnecessary. So let's skip ahead. And once all three are done, just need to check that everything looks centered and okay. Then I need to make the isolators that are going on top of the frame, making sure that the two metal bars don't get in contact with each other, I guess. Started looking at the rubber gasket and trying to fit it in on the frame, but it didn't really look like the one I visualized. So I decided to go ahead and try to build something myself. And I tried looking around at the different shapes that are available in TinkerCAD. And you can see me just looking at several objects. I'm going to skip ahead a bit. I found one that really looked okay with some tinkering. Turned out to be a simple tube, and with some modifications, I was able to get the shape just the way I really wanted it. I'm going to speed it up a bit. It was a bit of a struggle to get there. Once the object was done, it's just a matter of finding the right position for it and duplicating it. One is going on each of those bars and in both sides of the bars as well. So here I was looking at the images when doing this and thinking about how it would look proportional, because it's not always that easy from going from an image, even if it's a 3D image in a game. It kind of depends on which angle you're looking at it. That's something I've discovered, that the scaling is not always that easy to get a hang of. So now I'm centering the isolators, I'm going to call them, over the stands, just to have them at equal distance. Also looking at the image, determining now that it kind of needs to be more narrow, might also need to be higher. Looks fine for now. And now it's time to add the top bar above the isolators or the connector. So I'm going to speed it up and finish the bars above the isolators. And one fun part about Rust is that all of the stuff in it, even everything looks handmade and kind of worn down. Seems like it would probably work to some degree. The amount of detail that has gone into it from the designers is really amazing, and they deserve a lot of credit for that one. Now it's time for the main part of this model, the battery cells. 3 lines of cells, 4 cells in each line. And the scaling is of course a challenge here as well to make it look right. In the game, the model looks quite high and quite narrow from certain angles, but when you view it from other angles, it looks much wider or longer. So I need to kind of find a good fit for the Rust base that I'm designing and printing in a 3D printer so that it fits the same way that it does in the game on the flooring. So there will be some moving back and forth. I will speed it up and maybe cut it a bit, but you get to see the end result. So here we are, full set of battery cells, and the scaling looks okay for now. It's time for the electrical cabinet, which should cover the 3 sidebars. Makes it look kind of big here. Come back to that later. This is also where I discovered that the connectors and with the pins shouldn't be on both sides. So here we go. Now, when looking at the cabinet and battery cells together, it becomes obvious that the scaling is not right, and the cells needs to be much higher in order for the cabinet to look more proportional. So now comes a scaling job. And you can also see me make a mistake scaling up the top iron bars as well, which will make them much thicker than the bottom ones. So I'm going back and forth later on. I will speed it up and see what the end results look like. And once again, just a friendly reminder, this is not a tutorial on how to do things in TinkerCAD. It's just how I do it. There are certainly more efficient ways of doing it. You can see me now grouping objects and so on. So please don't get frustrated. Just take it for what it is and enjoy. And now when everything is more to scale, I need to get it aligned a bit better. And I'm using the steel beams to set the endpoints for the sides for the battery cells. And I'm also checking that it keeps proportions and that they don't touch each other, that the cells touch each other. And finally, it's time for the details of the electric cabinet. There are some kind of, I think it's connectors on the top of the cabinet. They aren't really connected to anything in the game, what I can see, but they are supposed to be there for some reason, I guess. And I also put a lot of work into the handle. It became something I really wanted to look well. Probably needs to be scaled up a bit in order to print well, but pretty happy with how it came out. And I also added an extra square to kind of show off that there is a door on the cabinet. I hope it comes out in the printer, it shows there, otherwise I might need to scale it up a bit. And here we are, end result, finished large battery from Rust. Gonna try to print it in the coming days and hopefully it turns out well. We'll probably need some tweaking in some level. And with that, I would like to say thank you for watching and take care.